Hey there, Tobias here from the Future Academy, and I want to talk about a great opportunity that exists right now, and that is, to become a brand consultant, more specifically, a top 1% brand consultant. And so I want to talk about 3 reasons why now is the greatest time ever in history to be a brand consultant and to make a great living, live life on your terms, have impact, have a lot of fun, and get to impact people to make a difference. And I make it sound like brand consultants have been around for thousands of years, which is not true. But I would still say, this opportunity that exists right now is something worth looking into if you feel like this is a profession that you want to pursue a career or build a whole company around brand consultants or brand consulting like I have. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that there is an overabundance and supply of nearly all kinds of products and services in the world. The exception would be like the companies that are really at the forefront of innovation. But for the most part, there's oversupply. And when that happens, companies within almost any category, market, industry, there's just too much similarity, mediocrity, and that is the worst place that you could be if you're a brand, if you're a business, to be like everyone else. And it's very hard for companies to sustain something that is differentiating on a product or service level. You have to go beyond that. You have to be a brand. Brand is what sets you apart. There are a lot of people that make, or a lot of companies that make shoes like Nike, but there's only one Nike, and so forth. And so companies really need help with the core questions that brand consulting around brand strategy is all about, which is differentiation, positioning, but also then taking those ideas and the strategies and helping people implement them internally and externally. And that's really what strategic brand building is all about, which I'm such a strong advocate for. 99% of people think, even inside the industry, think that brand consulting is about, looking different or saying something different. But that's not true, because that's not enough in today's world. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I love graphic design. I love communications, campaigning, and all that stuff. But if you want to build a brand in 2022 and beyond, it's going to take a whole company to get behind an idea. So now it's the best time ever to learn the strategic side of brand building and to be able to look at the bigger picture to help companies navigate the complexity they're faced with, to help them go from someone who is seen as mediocre or boring to someone who's extraordinary, even the only choice to customers. And what that really looks like for me, if you think about the whole kind of playing field of brand consulting, well, there's one part which has to do with strategy. And to do strategy well, you typically have to do some sort of research or digging, exploration. So you get to some sort of insight, usually looking in 3 directions: the company, what it's good at, where the credibility lies, the heritage. It's also the customer side, deciding on who to focus on, understanding what drives them. It's also the market. It's looking at what everyone else is doing, trends, and so forth. Coming up with a strategy and defining it, your positioning, how you're different, why customers should choose you, these kinds of questions. That's really the core brand strategy. From there's another area, which is like, how do we translate those ideas so we can express our brand, not only on the level of marketing communications or logos or visuals, but across the whole, across all the 5 brand dimensions. I call it 5 brand dimensions, which include your products, services, the environments where you show up, but also people and their behavior, and communications. So, brand strategy and brand consulting today, it kind of requires that you can take a look at the bigger picture and solve bigger problems. In other words, more valuable problems. And if you know how to do that, you can really put yourself in that top 1% where there's a lot of opportunity right now. There's a lot of money to be made there as well. And if you're a designer or you're anyone else who works kind of very close to the area of brand strategists and brand consultants, and you'd like to up-level your skills, you can charge more and have more fun and get to work with bigger problems and solve bigger problems, then please stay to the end because I have something for you. And that's my program, Certified Brand Consultant, if you haven't heard of it. But let me just go back to what I was talking about, this opportunity that exists right now. So companies are really failing. They're really failing when it comes to differentiation. And differentiation and positioning, these are concepts that lie at the core of business strategy, not only brand strategy. And that's why brand strategy and business strategy need to be tight like this. Like the most people that I know, even within the industry, even people who teach this stuff, they think of strategic brand building or branding, brand consulting, if you will, as let's come up with a differentiating idea, like a brand strategy, and execute it through logos and visuals and messages. Now that's great, that's an important part, but it's not going to fly in 2022 and beyond. We need to, cultivate more brand strategists and brand consultants who can work with companies to navigate the complexity where they operate, but also to simplify things, to clarify, to simplify, to come up with few bold differentiating ideas, then getting a whole organization behind those through working with internal culture, giving them tools, training, this kind of stuff. Or you could be working on the external stuff, which means how do we take that organizing idea behind the brand and innovate through that? How do we create better and different products, services? How do we look different where we show up? How do we do different things in different environments? How do our people and behave, how people behave? How is that different from everyone else? And how do we create more value? And how is that going to matter? And how do we do better brand communications? All these things, when you put them together, they stack up perceived value for the customer. So they're not buying into something which has the inherent value of the product or the service, if that makes sense, but it becomes a combination of value. So not only does a product do its core job better, it also provides a better experience. And not only does it provide a better experience, it also provides more meaning because you can connect to the values and the beliefs of the founders, of the owners of the company. And not only that, that brand might actually transform you as a human being. And so what we're doing is we're stacking value, and that's really what companies need so desperately right now. They need to stand for something. They need to stand out. They need to be clear about who they are, what they stand for, and most importantly, why customers should choose them. Being the only choice is the best place in business, and the other side of that is to be mediocre and stand for nothing, and that's the worst place in business. As a brand consultant, you get to help clients with these questions, and it's fun. And I put together everything that I've used for the last 15 years in brand consulting into a program called Certified Brand Consultant, where I teach everything. I give everything away, all my tools. I teach you a framework for how to diagnose, how to understand problems, how to get to the problem behind the problem so you can solve bigger problems and differentiate yourself. I teach you how to come up with solutions. I teach you basically everything you need to know when it comes to the skill, the mindset, the confidence of being a high income, high ticket brand consultant. I also teach you how to build a brand consulting business. So who are you going to be focused on? What is your niche? What's your positioning? What's your offering? How are you going to price it? How are you going to set up your whole offering? How are you going to market it predictably to bring in fresh leads? How are you going to upsell people? How are you going to sell people? What are you going to sell? Or what are you going to say on the sales call? How are you going to pitch? All these questions, it's everything we do inside Certified Brand Consultant. So if that's something you're interested in, you should definitely jump on a call with us. Now, another reason to be a brand consultant in 2022 and beyond is because it can provide you with a great income. It can provide you with a lifestyle where you can live life on your terms. Because now that we have this beautiful new technology adaptation where people are actually used to and accept that meetings are done through Zoom and Teams and these other platforms, you could actually be working from Spain or Mexico or wherever you want to work around the world and still earn six figures. If you're a solopreneur, you could even earn seven. That's going to require more. but you could really have a nice lifestyle and do what you love. And so, again, that's just a great reason to be a brand consultant. And if you know my story, I've been a brand consultant for 15 years. I had 20 employees working for me. And if you want to build an agency like I did, I can definitely help you with that. Personally, I got to a point where it became so stressful managing all the people and stuff. So I wanted to transition, and that's why I do more of that coaching today. And you could do the same. Like, there are so many different models available to you, business models. There's so many ways that you could niche down on a specific customer to solve one type of problem and make a really good living. So, for example, what I advise people in the program very often is, instead of showing up and saying, I'm a brand consultant, bring me brand problems, which is pretty much what I did. That's a very complex approach. You could say, I'm going to narrow down my approach to something much more specific, and maybe create a 5K offering. And what if you could sell 2 of those per month? Or what if you could sell 4 of those per month? Or what if you could upsell people on something? Suddenly you have a really great business. And what if you could have a predictable way of generating fresh new leads and automate and standardize things? And what if you really could convert those leads into paying customers at a high rate? These are all the things we do in Certified Brand Consultant. And I have opened the door to a limited amount of people right now to join the program. It is only through a call that you can get admitted to the program. We want to make sure that we have the right type of people in there. And so if you qualify, then I'm going to welcome you inside. You're going to get a call either with myself or one of my colleagues. And if it's a good fit, we're going to ask you to join. And it could be purely life transforming, I promise you. So if you're interested, make sure you book that call. Just go to thefutureacademy.com/certified brand consultant. You'll find more information and you can book your call there. Thanks so much. And really, I ask you, whether you do this together with me or just think about it from your own point of view, brand consulting is a great career, and it could be so much fun, and it could really provide you with the lifestyle and the income that you probably want. So give it some thought, and maybe we'll meet you on a call.